Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Didn't see you there.
Hi.
Hi. Don't be creepy.
Hi.
Don't be creepy.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. This is the No BS Design Show. Episode number. I'm not gonna say it because one time I said it and we got it wrong and we left it in. So just look in the YouTube title. Okay, it's fine. I don't have to tell you the number. You can just look.
I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to say it's episode 7.
Dude, I honestly have
completely
no
wrong.
idea. I don't even know. But just you guys are so lazy. Just look in the title. It's ridiculous. I'm coming in hot today, Jonathan. I just am. I'm just aggravated at the world. You know what I mean?
One of those days.
So don't say anything that I don't like, because no, I'm just kidding.
Pineapples on pizza, man.
Dude, I like pineapples on pizza. So
Yeah, okay, see, I don't. So here we are.
there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. Today we are talking about how to get clients as a freelancer, or maybe as like a small studio or whatever level you're at. But how do you get those clients in the Webflow world, in the web design world? Do you have a strategy? Do you just kind of just hope you get lucky? Is social media part of it? Is it not? So we're talking all about that. And we come from pretty different experiences with that, I think. So it should be an interesting and informative conversation. If you have any questions or comments, please like the video, comment below if we missed anything, because I guarantee that we did at the end. I'm sure we'll miss something. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? There's an infinite number of ways that you can go about this, but we're just going to talk about our experiences.
And we kind of went into this a little bit. We touched on it in the last episode. I think it was the last episode where we talked about pricing. We touched on how we got started and all that, but I think this is so we're continuing on the same topic, but from a different angle.
Yeah, but talking about, how much you charged at the beginning is different from talking about how you got to a point where you could charge something.
Oh, yeah.
Because even if you're charging nothing, very little money, if you are being paid to do the work that you're doing, you are now a professional at that work. So, congratulations, you made it. If you've made $1, you've made it. Congratulations. Yeah. That's honestly, in a way, that's the hardest part. So,
absolutely, yeah. Getting started is always the hardest.
Yep. Okay.
So,
opening thoughts.
Yeah, opening thoughts. I think yes, the opening thoughts. Like I said before, we hit record button. I think it's okay to not know how to get clients, because let's be honest, I still don't, and I'm living off of whatever I do. But so people always ask me, "What is your strategy to find clients? What strategy?"
I've seen a lot of people ask you that on Twitter in comments.
Yeah, both public and in DMs. I get a lot of it, and my answer is always usually when they ask publicly, I just don't answer because there's too much. Yeah. But in the DMs, usually I say I don't have a strategy. Be public facing, be very visible, and do your best to network. That's the overall if you want to call it a strategy, it's a strategy. But it's okay to not have a pipeline of how you close a deal. And I think that's what a lot of people stress out about.
As a freelancer, I don't think you need that, because it's just you. I guess if you're going to get to the point where you're hiring people and then you have other people depending on you, know what you're doing, I guess. But yeah, as a freelancer, I don't think you need that.
No. And depending on where you come from, if you come from a background of being employed, you're obviously used to the security of having a salary and all of that.
Right.
And so I think that's partly why, that's my theory at least, that's partly why people want that pipeline in place, a certain way of knowing, I will get this many leads and I know I will close this many of those leads. So I think there's some confusion on that part.
Have you ever approached getting clients from that, that level of a technical approach? Have you ever even run the numbers of this is how many leads I get and this is how many I close, and of the ones I close, this is how many go for this project size? I've never done that, literally.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have any kind of number. I have been thinking though recently that I want to start tracking or how many people get in touch with me and all of that, and like save them in a database.
Yeah, I have to.
But I don't currently. I don't.
Yeah.
But I think on average, like a majority, maybe I'd say like 60, 70, let's say 70% of the people that contact me, I usually close. So fairly high success rate. And then of the people that I get on a call with, I know I mentioned this before too, but of the people that I get on a call with, I always close. I think I'm almost at the 100% close rate with those.
Okay.
But
I used to be higher than I am now. I think as I scaled my company larger, the numbers got larger because more services, larger websites, larger projects. And as those numbers got higher, I would say that the close rate decreased some, just because I think people are more likely to say no when dealing with bigger numbers, which kind of does make sense. But I think that that's a built-in risk and a net benefit. Like, I'm making more anyway as a company by charging more, even considering the lost clients. So like, I would rather do less bigger projects than more smaller projects.
Yeah, that's something I wish I could do more of. I feel like I'm in a constant state of like, I never know where the next project is going to come from, even though I'm at the place where I'm like very comfortable.
That doesn't go away. It really doesn't.
Yeah, maybe I guess so.
But you get used to it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to be more comfortable with just saying no to the small things and trusting that there will be something bigger on the way.
And I mean, it does help if you're able to with clients. And I've been working on this, and it's tricky because everyone is on a short timeline. It's
right. Yeah.
Like every project is as soon as possible. So I don't know, because it would be great if I could like schedule them out. And I do have some that I've scheduled out, but it's a hard sell, man, because people want it quickly.
Oh yeah. Always.
But okay, let's get back to how we even get the phone call to begin with. I think that my first initial strategy as a young freelancer with very little experience was just to email everyone I've ever met. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like every professor from school, every family member that I thought might know a business owner somewhere. Like, and at the time I wasn't even doing web design. I was just doing traditional print advertising type design. And I was just like hustling. Like, I went door to door in my local town, just like talking to business owners, and I got like a couple leads, but like that wasn't super successful. And then I pulled up like every agency in my state, and I emailed literally hundreds of them, like just email. And some of them, like, from my experience, some of them wouldn't reply right away, but then like months later, like 6 months later, one of them replied, I remember, and they were like, hey, we didn't need anything at the time, but we actually could use some design support now. So I was like subcontracting a lot for larger agencies who were like maybe too busy to do all the work that they had. And that was how I initially got all my clients, and which resulted in me having a bunch of agency clients, which as I grew in my career, I actually wanted less of. But I'm always appreciative of those agencies. I still work with some of them to this day. Doing web now. I don't do print or anything anymore, but Absurdity still has partnerships with some of those people, and I'm super thankful for that. So that's how I got started. It was just like email every single person ever. Make sure that you have a good website. At the time, I had a decent personal site, and make sure that your communication is polished and human. Like, don't sound like a robot. Like, sound like a person. Treat people well, and they will work with you. That's I don't know. That's all I got right now.
I think that's a great approach, and makes me think of something that Gary Vee always says. I'm sure I don't need to introduce the name.
He's pretty well.
But like, he always talks about scaling the unscalable, and basically the way I understand it, the way he means, so like in the very beginning, you shouldn't have to figure out the entire business process of like how to go about everything like years from now. Just do something you can do today and do as much of it as you can, knowing that you can't continue doing it forever, but for now it might work. And so in your case, that's manually sending a bunch of emails to everybody you can think of.
My processes now are nothing like my processes to get started. Like they're completely different, but they were necessary.
Right. Yeah. And similarly to me too, when I like at the very, very beginning, I was just cold emailing random businesses in my local area too, in my hometown. Mostly like old electrician businesses that had like shitty websites, shitty logos, and shitty design overall. I had zero success with it, I think. So it didn't work out at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think I continued long enough. So if I would have continued, I think I would have seen some success.
Well, and I didn't really have any success with the businesses I messaged. I only really had success with large agencies who needed work. And they would not have worked with me if my work wasn't good. Like if you're going to email me or DM me because you want to work with absurdity, like your work needs to be good or I'm not even going to like talk to you. And that's not me being mean. I'll talk to you if you need advice or whatever. I'll always give advice, but I'm not going to talk to you in a professional capacity because I'm not going to work with people who haven't done the work to prepare their work in a way that I can look through. Like I need to be able to see it somehow and it needs to be good. Yeah.
And so like at the very beginning for me, I was doing cold outreach and then moved on to platforms like that's a little bit more scalable in a way, I guess, like Upwork, Fiverr, things like that. But still you can't be sending like hundreds of proposals every single day to projects that will pay 100, 200 euros. So that was my beginning. I had very little success with it, but it did get a start.
With those platforms?
Yeah. That's how I got my first few $100, which was great. But then ever since really like that I made the leap to full time, I have always relied 100% on social media. And that's like my thing. Everything right now, the past, maybe I want to say 5 months, something like that, have been completely inbound. So social media for me is definitely a massive.
So how much of that
generator.
is you're working directly with the company, and how much of that is like other Webflow production companies, like agencies or studios or individuals reaching out to you to work with you?
Right. Yeah. So I rely quite heavily on other agencies. So I'm a subcontractor for a lot of agencies. And for me, that's perfect. That's what I like doing. Because the part that I like the least, dislike the most, is client communication.
Jonathan hates talking to people.
sorry, all existing clients. I still like you.
No.
But yeah, that's the part that I like the least. And what I want to do is just develop and design websites and like do that all day, get paid for it. Yeah, that's what I enjoy. And so for me, it's perfect to collaborate with other agencies. And I would honestly, at least for people getting started, I think that's the best and in a way easiest way to kind of get established and make a living off of your work. Because agencies almost always have overflow work. They almost always need help with something. Doesn't need to be like a massive project, but it can be like a minor update here and there, some retainer stuff or small stuff. And being comfortable.
I mean, when I was in, I think this podcast is mainly Webflow based, but even like in traditional design, like when I was getting started, my first like big break was a local agency, and I was doing like print design for advertising design for them for like $2,000 a month, which at the time was like so awesome. You know what I mean? Like I would have killed for that. Not really. I'm not going to kill anybody. So don't ask. But yeah. Agency overflow work is a really good way if you're struggling to find clients.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if you establish those relationships early and are comfortable with taking on the small projects that might pay like 100, 200 maximum, like tiny stuff. If you're comfortable with taking on that, it might lead to something bigger down the line. And down the line could mean 1 month, it could mean 6 months. It differs. But building the relationships, I know it's such a cliche thing to say, but like build relationships, network, establish connections everywhere you can think of. Even if you think, or even if you know it doesn't lead to work right now, and even if you don't see the potential in it, establish the connection, because you don't know who that person knows. And like you can be referred to all things, all kinds of different things can happen.
I mean, I've gotten client work from just a random friend on Twitter who I just like would talk to and like no like money, nothing, just like a friend on Twitter who then recommended me to someone else who then worked with me one time. And like, you never know, like just treat people well. I mean, and it's all comes down to network really, because I was going to say this sentence and I was like, yeah, it just sounds so dumb, but it's 100% true. It's so freaking dumb. But like every client that I've ever worked with, I met them.
Oh yeah? Like in person?
Like I met, like, no, but I met them somehow. Like, I guess my point is like, all the people that work with every client that you've ever worked with found out about you somehow. So the more you're getting your name out there, whether it's social media, whether it's going to events, I don't know. I've never really had success. Never really done it. I did it one time, I think. But like, however you're doing it, get your name out there and get your reputation up every chance you get. Because that's how you meet people, and people want to work with people that are cool to work with and who are kind and who do really good work. And personally, I would work with someone who's like an A-level design, who's really, really nice and cool to work with. I would work with them any day over A+, who's an asshole, like any day. I don't like, it doesn't matter to me. You could be a little bit better in your work. If you're horrible to work with, I'm not working with you.
That makes perfect sense. And like, just for people who ask the question of like how to find clients, like think from your own perspective. You will always want to work with, if you can choose who you work with, you will always choose the person that you get along with, like are friends with, or at least have some type of connection with. And how you establish that connection can be all kinds of different ways. Like for me, it's social media. For others, it's like in-person relationships that they like a friend of a friend, etc. And there's so many different ways, but regardless of the route you take to that, the end goal is always connection and network. And it's such a boring answer, but it's the only true answer in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. And I guess then the question is like, well, what form does that take? Because that's the $1 million question or whatever. It's like, yeah, network or connect with people, but what form should that take? I mean, do what works for you. Try a little bit of everything. Literally try it, because it's going to be different for everyone. I've had very high success beginning my career with cold email to other agencies or large agencies. I've had very low success as now a studio with cold email, very low. So it's like what worked then doesn't work now, and that's okay. I just learned from it and moved on. But like, you've had really high success with social media, with Twitter. Maybe someone else would have higher success with LinkedIn or whatever. Like, it's just try stuff. Maybe go to one event and see if maybe you'll find 2 or 3 clients. Like try everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible for any of us or anyone else really to give someone a specific advice on like, this is how you will find clients.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like I know what I do, but I can't know what you're good at. It turns out that I'm good at tweeting.
Yeah, you are. Or is ChatGPT good at tweeting? Jonathan.
We don't have to spill the beans, don't have to spill the secrets.
That's not even true. I know that you're not just like copy pasting.
Actually, parts of it is copy paste. Honestly, 100% true.
Yeah, I mean, hey, use the tools at your disposal. Like,
Yeah,
but,
and I mean, it works. It usually performs better than my tweets, and people don't seem to notice. So
no, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Just don't lose the personal touch, right?
no,
Like, don't lose the humanity.
Yeah.
Also, we should talk about first contact with clients. Like that first message that you send can like completely eliminate any chance that you have to work with them.
Yep. Do you have
Because
any
I know that you
examples
tweeted
in
about
mind?
this recently, right? Didn't you? Didn't you tweet about this at some point?
Yeah. I tweeted. It was about the LinkedIn, how they messaged me, right?
Yeah, like the DMs that people send you.
Right. Yeah. So I tweeted the other day. I think it was last week about like DMs I answer and DMs I don't answer, and an example of a DM that I will not answer to goes along the lines of like, "Hello, dear sir or madam. I am," and usually in broken English, like, "I am a Webflow developer. Do you have work?" Or like, or
To be
sometimes
clear, I don't think that we're hating on anyone with English as a second language.
no, sorry. I don't mean it like that. English is my second language too.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Side notes.
But if your whole message is just like, "Hi, do you have work?" You're not providing me any value. You're not telling me what you're good at. You're not saying like, "I love to do this. Here's what I've been doing lately." You're not being interesting. You're not showing me any value.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have any reason to connect with you.
And it's cold because there's zero personality too.
Exactly. It's too formal. Like, who says hello, sir? Like, are we in the 1800s? Like,
maybe that's a language gap thing. I don't know. But even if you remove like the writing style or like the broken English, you still just have an outline of hello, do you have work, name. And it's like just all things removed. You can't sell with just that. You need to convince me that I should be working with you. You need to convince me that you're good at what you do, right? Like none of those things are happening in that message.
Exactly. Yeah. And so and then another example of a message that I will respond to is more casual, more relaxed, doesn't ask for anything up front, just wants to establish a connection. So it could go along the lines of like, "Hey man, how you doing? I saw you work with Webflow. How is your business doing?" Like something along the lines of that. Just a casual message in the way that you would message a friend or like just another human being, because that's what we are. Like, yes, we're online, but every single profile there's a human behind. And
I think that's a really good point, because I think the common thread is that it just reduces you to like just something that I can get money from, hopefully, right? That's all it is those types of messages.
Exactly.
It's just like, "Hello, can I get money from you?" Like,
exactly. Like, maybe if you would have shown some kind of upfront value, but like, no, I'm sorry. Even like, to go one step further, even if the person would have turned out to like be great at whatever work he does or she does, I probably wouldn't work with the person because I just don't feel the connection, or like I don't want to, I don't feel it, because there's a massive pool of people that want to work and earn money. Like there's no lack of that.
And if you're hiring someone to work with on design or development or whatever, there is a massive amount of trust involved.
Oh, yeah.
Because if it's bad, then I'm in a tight spot. Like if the product is bad, then I'm in trouble. Like I have to solve that. And that's a giant pain to do. So like there has to be a level of trust for me to work with you. And if I don't even know you, like I have no personality, or like there's nothing there other than like, "Hi, I would like to work with you," then I don't trust you, because how could I? I don't know you.
Yeah. And it goes back to just an overall theme too, how like you need to always show upfront value regardless of what you do. Like that's just marketing 101. Like show upfront value before you ask anything. And that goes for like publishing content on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever platform you're on. It goes for establishing connections, or like we talked about now. It goes for like creating these type of videos that we're recording right now. Like it's about providing upfront value and giving a reason for users to take interest in what you do, and then maybe establish a deeper connection that could lead to whatever you want it to lead to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
I think with so many things in life, it's like, even like I'm thinking about like the coffee shop that I go to. Mm-hmm. It's like I've seen people order a coffee and just be rude to the person taking their order, or rude to the person making their coffee. Like I've observed this, and it's just like they are never going to, like, no one is ever going to see that person treat that person poorly and be like, you know what, I want to give them a little extra something today.
Right.
Take a free cookie. Like, no one is ever going to do that. If I saw someone do that and then they came over to me and they were like, oh, I want a website, we have a budget, I'd be like, no, I don't work with people who treat people like shit.
Like, yeah.
like
it's very simple.
Be a good person, be a like genuine, fully rounded human being who treats people well. That alone is going to get you somewhere. I don't know, it depends on a lot of factors, but like that alone is a win.
Oh yeah. Another thing I've heard some people say when I explain like how I generate leads and business is that, well, okay, establish a connection, network, blah, 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 but I need money now. Like I need work now. And what, I guess, like
I feel for that. I do.
Yeah. What spontaneous thought do you have to as an answer to that? Like what to do?
I mean, it sucks to hear this, because I remember hearing this from people and being annoyed, not because they were wrong, but because I was desperate. And when you're desperate, you don't think clearly, right? Like you don't. But really it just is like, you have to play the long game. Businesses are not built overnight. They're built over years, typically. You can point at weird businesses that work really, really quickly or whatever, but like even those people probably were grinding for years before you ever heard of them. So it doesn't really count. Like, no one is out here overnight becoming a huge success. It takes time. You have to play the long game. But if you're desperate for money, do what you can to survive. You might have to have a part-time job while you're doing Webflow work. Like you might have to like pick up little odd jobs doing shit that you hate doing on Upwork if you need it. Like do what you have to do to make it through. But start doing the other stuff. Like if social media is a long game, start posting and creating content now so that in 6 months, hopefully you're in a better place than you are now. But if you don't do that now because you need money now, well, then you're going to be in the same place in 6 months.
Yeah. That's the boring answer, but it's a true answer too. Like it is a long game. It will take time. It will take time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, and all of that.
Yeah, it sucks sometimes, but it's worth it.
Not blood. Hopefully not blood. Maybe tears. But
maybe a blood sacrifice.
Maybe that's possible. But like, yeah, it is a long game, and sometimes I guess everyone's situation is different. Of course, I understand that, but sometimes you just need to find some other kind of part-time job, like some shitty job, like that just pays the bills, or at least part of the bills, and then supplement that with whatever freelance work you end up getting. But like it was only quite recently, like only 1 year ago. Yeah, up until 1 year ago, I was just working random odd jobs, like in random retail stores.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's only been a year. And I was doing those jobs, like it was okay. I had great coworkers, like I had happy with my life. But at the same time, I still had these, at the time, hobbies that I wanted to turn into like a business, like design work, freelancing, things like that. So I was doing all of that at the same time while having a full-time job. So I was like getting up early, It sounds so cliche. Like I don't want to the whole hustle thing, but it's true. Like I was up at 5, 6 a.m. every single day, like working before getting to work. And then getting home sometimes, because I worked quite late the evening, sometimes getting home at like 10, 11 p.m. And I sat down got straight back to my own work and trying to make freelancing a thing. And
those are long days.
Those are very long days. And I did that for years. And I loved it at the time. Like I was in the zone. Like I had energy going.
Yeah.
But looking back now, it's definitely not sustainable, and I wouldn't want that again. But
you did that temporarily so that you could have the life that you wanted, and sometimes you have to do that. Right?
Exactly.
I didn't want to be knocking on businesses' doors, being like, "Hi, I'm a freelancer. Do you have anything that you need?" And I remember I was so bad at sales. That's basically what I would say. And then be like, "What do you even do?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." Like I was so bad. Like I was terrible. But like you have to do the things that you have to do to get through.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to know your own limits and know like what works for you. Because like you obviously don't want to burn yourself out. Like that's not what I'm saying. But you have to work to your very, very limit to get to where you want. And that's what it is. Like it's a boring, tough answer, but it's the only true answer.
Yeah. And if that's not worth it to you, which is actually, I think, a very viable answer. Let's say that someone's like, actually, my free time and I like to read or play games or whatever, that's not worth sacrificing to me for that future. Okay. Then find a job that you hate the least and just keep doing that and live the life that you want to live. It's all about priorities. Maybe like if you don't want to do that, then don't. Like it's fine. But if you want it, then you have to like, if you want to build a company, you have a company, like, you know, it's not like a one person company. Even if you want to build that, it takes a lot of work, especially up front.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. But it's like you said, it's okay to sometimes accept that, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And like, that's okay. That's completely okay. It's okay to be employed. Like that's, there's no shame in being employed. Like, I don't know what has happened, but online, wherever you go, like you have to be this entrepreneur. You have to like have your own business, make millions online, working from beaches in Bali. Like that's the default answer. While in reality, like I don't have a statistic, like a real statistic, but I would imagine like at least 90% of people worldwide are employed. Like it's at least the majority of people are employed.
Mean, I don't know the stats, but like it's unusual for someone to be an entrepreneur, self-employed. Like I would say it's unusual. I don't like, even in my friend group, there's very few. But like that's okay. We've never been like exclusive. That's the way you have to live your life. You live your life however makes you happy. I really don't care. I just want you to I want everyone to find the balance, the lifestyle, the people to be around, whatever. I don't care. Like to make you happy. Do that. Do that. You could live in an apartment and have a Lambo. I don't really give a fuck. Like do whatever you want. Or you could have a house and have a bicycle. It does, like, I don't care what you do. Just if you want to build a company, subscribe to this show. That's it. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be a freelancer, you should like and subscribe.
Exactly. That's the way to go.
Do you see how I tied that in, Jonathan?
I love
that. It's a masterclass in marketing right there, baby.
It's a masterclass. Masterclass. But at one point also, I guess it's a good point to maybe round the show off on, but a side note to getting up early, working late, all of that.
The grind.
The grind is, I sometimes hear people say, like in my DMs or on Twitter, say that, oh yeah, well, I am up super early and working super late and like I'm pulling all of these hours. And if that is the case, like if you genuinely know that you are working insane hours, and you're not fooling yourself and like, you're actually working it. Ask yourself, like, are you actually doing something productive during those hours? Because I can have periods of where I'm up early sometimes and go like, oh, I'm going to be super productive. But then I end up having some podcast or YouTube video in the background, which kind of completely like derails my thoughts, and I don't get anything done. So ask yourself, are you actually productive during those hours? Because chances are that you can maybe pull the same things off in a much shorter time.
With good focus.
With good focus, exactly. So it's not just...
In that situation, I would also like to mention that if you are grinding, like if you're doing 8-10 hours a day or more and it's not working, then that's a sign that your strategy is not working. So like, instead of just like, you could continue doing what you're doing and working all those days and hours and whatever, but if it's not working, then you're just going to keep getting the same result. So something has to change. And I would look at your process. I would look at, okay, am I getting the email to them and they're opening it, but then they go to my site and then they don't like my site? So, okay, what am I missing? What's wrong on my site? Okay, am I getting them to go from the email to my site to contact me? Okay, great. But is something broken once I reach out to them? So like, what am I doing wrong? Am I saying something wrong? Like, what am I doing? Like, go through each step of your process. And I'm not saying you have to have a process written down on a piece of paper, but like, find where it's breaking and then fix it and then change it. And then if it doesn't work, change it again. And then if it doesn't work, find where it's broken. Like, keep trying to improve, because there must be somewhere that there's a disconnect. And I think in my experience with most people is that their website sucks. Like, if you're trying to sell yourself as a freelancer, let's say you're a Webflow freelancer, your website better be pretty good, because you're selling websites. Like,
yeah. It just makes sense. And also, I forget what the saying is, but maybe you've heard of it. Like, it's doing the same thing over and over and it not working.
It's like the old saying. It's like, I don't even think this is true, but it's like it's like a saying that's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Right, and to some extent it's true and also not true, but
I mean, but it's kind of true in a casual way, which is like, if you're doing the same thing every day, you're grinding and grinding, nothing's improving, then find something to change, because something has to change. Yeah,
and that's what I do with every single new client, every single new lead. I always look at, okay, like, why did they contact me? What can I do different? Why did I not close them? Why did I close them? Just think about it. And this is not me like writing down notes specifically. It's just thinking about what has happened here and why. Ask the questions.
Yeah. Keep trying to learn. Keep trying to improve yourself. As a freelancer, it's basically the same thing as improving your company. Like, just keep trying to improve yourself, and hopefully it'll have payoff. And if it doesn't, look at what's broken. Just find what's broken. Honestly, that might be like the biggest sales advice I can give, is if it's not working, figure out why.
Honestly, it's a simple answer to complicated question.
Yeah. But if anyone has any highly specific questions that maybe we didn't cover, please comment below, and we'll try and maybe comment some answers or mention it in the video, or just in general we'll try and make a video about it at some point. But yeah, like, what are your questions? What did we miss? If you're new to freelancing, what questions do we not even know to ask? You know what I mean? Like, so like, remind us what we need to tell you, and we'll try and make good content and help everyone grow. That's it,
exactly. Hit the comments, hit the likes, hit subscribes, hit the I was gonna say like, pause, subscribe, but don't pause.
No, finish the video, because I think it gets us better stats if you finish the whole thing completely.
I think so too.
All right, peace and love. This was really fun, Jonathan. Thank you.
It was lots of fun. Peace and love.
All right, talk to you next week.